Good afternoon, Oak Grove. Happy Thursday. Welcome to this week's installment of the Midweek Update series, where I just pop into your devices in the middle of the week to say hello and to try to keep the church on our consciousness for the other 6.5 days of the week that we're not in worship on Sunday morning, because that is oh so important for us to do. So thanks for taking a moment to join me. I told you that I wanted to start doing more of these videos on location and outside of the boring gray walls of my office a little more often. And as you can see, I'm on the go right now. I am delighted at the fact that today is finally a little cooler. We've had so many ultra warm days in recent weeks, of course. And it's in the 70s right now, and actually it's pretty cloudy at the moment. And so without the sunshine, that makes it even cooler out here. So I'm delighted to get some of my daily steps in out here in the field. And I make the excuse that I'm too poor to afford a treadmill. That's probably not true. I probably could afford a treadmill if I really wanted to. But when it's really hot, or when it's raining, or in the wintertime when it's way too cold, or when it's snowing, getting my steps in is a challenge. And in lieu of having a treadmill, I will sometimes just walk laps around the church basement sometimes. I do stationary exercises in the basement sometimes in the living room of the parsonage. I like to work out from home. I've never belonged to a gym in my entire life. And again, I kind of make the excuse that I can't afford it. I probably could afford it, I'm just cheap. So what am I going to talk to you about today? I'm just going to talk to you about self-care and the fact that I'm doing this. I'm just sharing with you that I do this. Our physical bodies are gifts from God, and they are to be cherished, and they're to be taken care of. And that is a sacred obligation. It is a divine calling. God wants us to be good stewards of the things that God has given us, right? Our physical bodies, as imperfect as they may be for some of us, especially when we're feeling aches and pains, or in the case of unfortunate some folks, that when they're struggling with serious disease and illness, it can become easy to forget what a gift and a blessing our bodies are. But they are a gift from God with which we were entrusted, just like so many other things in our lives. Stewardship is a good, healthy attitude towards life as something that God entrusts us with. You know, God grants us the use of the things that are ours in this world while they are ours, so that we may use them responsibly. Ultimately, we don't really own anything. God owns it all, including even our bodies. But God entrusts us with the things that we have during this life, with the hope and expectation that we will take good care of them. And so I know I've talked to you about self-care before, so it might be a little repetitive, but not everybody watches every video, so it's a good time to revisit it. It's also a good time to kill two birds with one stone and film my video while I'm getting my steps in out here, because I've got a busy schedule. And so it's a good opportunity to do two things at once. But I just wanted to remind everybody of the need. Stop and take time to take care of yourself. And I've talked about self-care before in the form of like hobbies and things you do for fun. Well, this is also a video about self-care in the sense that exercise can also be a divine calling. God may be calling us to get some steps in today, if that is what's needed to make sure that we add years to our life, so that we can be around for our loved ones in the future, so that we can live to a ripe old age with them, and to make sure that we are fit and ready to serve when our friends and family and our community need us. You know, when a friend calls us and says, "Can you give me some help moving? I really need some extra hands." Well, at that time, you really want to be ready to help them if that's what you're being called to do. And so for those reasons, fitness can be seen as a divine calling. Now, that having been said, it's also worth pointing out that we can take that too far in the other direction too. If fitness is a passion where it becomes a hobby for somebody, not just something they do because they feel they have to do, but something they get really enthusiastic about doing, they're really rigid about their diet, they're very strict about their workouts, that's okay as a hobby as long as we keep it in moderation, like all things. The one thing that is worth noting is that, you know, some people and I'm thinking very carefully about how I want to say this. This video is unscripted, as all of my videos are unscripted. I'm thinking very carefully how I want to say this because I don't want to upset or offend anybody's sensibilities, but it is possible to take it too far. And as we become so focused on our fitness, it's easy to forget that if you need to drop a few pounds, or if you're not in the best of shape, God also loves the you that you are right now. And you don't need to drop those pounds in order to be lovable in God's eyes. So that's something important to bear in mind on the other side of the spectrum too. So moderation in all things, but within reason, as long as it doesn't become obsessive or unhealthy, I think fitness can be a divine calling from God. I certainly am not the fittest. I've got a few extra pounds. I've got a little belly here. But I do look at getting in my steps in this way as something God wants me to do, to try to make sure that I'm adding years to my life so that I can be around for my loved ones and to make sure that I'm ready to serve. So that is just a reflection I thought I'd share as I'm making my steps out here in the field behind the church, because it is a cooler day and I have the ability to do that, and I'm glad that I can do that now because I was getting sick of walking around the church basement. And it was also an excuse for me to kill two birds and get the video out while I'm doing my steps. So that is the reflection I want to share with you this week, Oak Grove. Please be sure, parents of kiddos, to turn out on Sunday morning if you at all possibly can for worship this week. We would really appreciate seeing you, and bring your kids' backpacks because we are going to be doing the blessing of the backpacks this Sunday. And we have a little gift to give away to each of the kiddos. And we'd really like to at least make sure we have some kids for that. So please be sure to join us for that so we can bless our kids' backpacks as they head back to school this year. That's what I've got for you, Oak Grove. I'm going to finish my laps here. Take care. God bless, and I will see you Sunday.